Live now from Fox, everyone. I'm your host, Mike Pace. Thanks again for joining us. We come back with some more breaking news that we are following for you about the mayor of New Orleans. We are learning that the New Orleans mayor, Latoya Cantrell, indicted by federal grand jury following a lengthy corruption investigation. So here is what we know of this. Mayor Latoya Cantrell of New Orleans was charged today with going to criminal lengths to carry out a cover-up of a romantic relationship with a city police officer who had been assigned to protect her, prosecutors allege. The indictment emerged after a lengthy federal investigation into corruption that has cast a shadow over Ms. Cantrell's final term as mayor, which ends in January. She and her former bodyguard, Jeffrey Vapey, faced a combined 18 felony counts, including making false statements to a grand jury, obstruction of justice, wire fraud, and conspiracy. The indictment reflects the prosecution of two public officials alleged to have engaged in a years-long continuing fraud scheme that used public money for personal ends by exploiting their power and their authority. That is coming from the acting U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Louisiana. They perpetuated that fraud scheme, he added, by taking steps to keep individuals silent, to deceive subordinates, and to obstruct investigations into their relationship, including one conducted by a federal grand jury. Ms. Cantrell's lawyer confirmed the indictment but did not immediately comment on its contents. Mr. Vapey's lawyer did not immediately respond to a message seeking a comment.
So essentially what you're looking at is an indictment and a lie that basically transitioned and transpired into being a bigger lie and a bigger lie, and then more financial stuff that they needed to do in order to cover up. And then you got to also understand, listen, the reason that this is so egregious is because this is done on taxpayer dime. They don't mess around when it comes to utilizing taxpayer funds to do whatever it is that you're going to do. They don't. And more importantly, I think the bigger issue, in addition to the taxpayer money that is used to cover it up and the fact that you just couldn't keep yourself together, is the fact that you didn't have any discipline as a leader to then be able to lead the city that is in dire straits, because we all know that New Orleans has never fully recovered and they need the most disciplined, transparent business person possible. And they just couldn't keep themselves out of a consensual relationship because it wasn't anything that anybody didn't do. And then they used taxpayer money in order to cover it up. And this is another reason why I don't believe that women, in most instances, especially in the public sector, because they've been chasing this woman forever, right? I've been hearing stuff about New Orleans Mayor Cantrell since the beginning of time, about how she's corrupt. And here's the worst part about it. This is coming after the indictment of their previous mayor. So she didn't even learn from the mistakes of the person that came before her. She then proceeds to do the same thing that her predecessor did before her. And, well, I mean, not exactly the same thing. But the point is that, you know, when you start to play around with other people's money, this isn't the private sector. This isn't, you know what I'm saying, dollars from investors that's just random. These are people that pay their taxes every single month, every single year, every single quarter, every single paycheck, and they are expecting for you to be the leader. Now, if we hold guys to this incredible standard, then why shouldn't we hold her to an incredible standard? And again, I've been seeing stuff about her. She's been living in this particular place and they shouldn't be living in there. Listen, once they got it out for you, you have to be 100% on top of things. You cannot in any way, have any hidden things, any hidden gems. Before y'all decide that y'all want to go run for office, just a suggestion and just some advice. Make sure that you got all of your bases covered and make sure that everything is already to the forefront. Because all you're going to do is find yourself doing a prison sentence in jail because you couldn't control yourself and your character wasn't enough to keep you in the places that, you know, your talent or you winning was going to take you. And the worst part about it is that the people keep voting in these incompetent leaders that can't keep themselves together.
Vapey was already charged over a year ago with prosecutors accusing him of defrauding taxpayers when he was paid more than $7,000 for appearing to be on duty while he was spending personal time with the mayor. Both were married at the time. The earlier indictment did not identify Ms. Cantrell by name, but said that Mr. Vapey had carried out a relationship with the mayor of New Orleans. The charges against Ms. Cantrell add fresh turbulence to what has been a busy and complicated year for New Orleans that began with a deadly terrorist attack on New Year's Day. But the city.
Let me see if I can find some more out about her tenure in New Orleans so that we can get a better understanding of exactly who we're dealing with and why they're coming after her in the first place. Because, again, when you get into public office and when you decide that you want to run for mayor, it seems like a prestigious job, but they not playing no games with y'all, and they are going to hold y'all accountable.
Breaking news on WDSU.
The breaking news we're following: sitting U.S. Mayor Latoya Cantrell accused of felony charges of conspiracy, obstruction, fraud, and essentially lying to the public, the police, and most importantly, to the federal government.
The Department of Justice says this is all in relation to an alleged romantic relationship that they say was formed between Mayor Cantrell and former New Orleans police officer Jeffrey Vapey. Mayor, any comment at all about the federal probe? Mayor Latoya Cantrell not answering or even acknowledging the questions about a federal probe into her. She's now facing federal charges, and she's also chalking up a first. Cantrell becomes the first sitting mayor in New Orleans to be charged while still in office. Former Mayor Ray Nagin was indicted, went to trial, and was convicted. But while the federal investigation into Nagin started in 2008, while he was still the city's top elected leader, he wasn't charged until he was out of office. Nagin served a 10-year sentence after being convicted on bribery-related crimes. The legal process will now play out, and Cantrell is presumed innocent until proven guilty. But the charges themselves, yet another speed bump in what has been a rocky political career spanning 12 years.
Latoya Cantrell faces Dana Kaplan in a runoff to represent District B.
Cantrell won a seat on the city council in a special election back in December 2012. It's the District B seat, which includes parts of Uptown Central City, the Lower Garden District, and Broadmoor. She had previously run unsuccessfully for an Orleans Parish School Board seat in 2004. Attack ads flew back in 2012, with Cantrell's opponents hitting her for failing to file campaign finance reports after the 2004 race. That matter was resolved with Cantrell paying less than half of what was owed. She was re-elected to the city council in 2014 with little opposition.
Then it does speak to wanting to cast that shadow over my administration.
Then in 2017, Cantrell surprised the political establishment, putting up billboards with nothing more than her name, Latoya. She announced she was running for mayor. In a crowded field, in a race for an open seat, the California native who moved to New Orleans to attend Xavier University of Louisiana ran first in the primary. During the runoff, it came to light that Cantrell had liens placed on her property for failing to pay taxes. And WDSU Investigates also broke the story on how she had used a credit card while on the council for what appeared to be personal expenses unrelated to her elected office. Cantrell only paid the money back before she qualified to run for mayor. The matter with liens in federal court was eventually resolved, and the credit card issues turned into a full-blown investigation by the state's attorney general. At that time, in 2017, it was Jeff Landry, who's now the governor. After a lengthy investigation, the AG chose not to pursue charges against Cantrell, claiming that the city's policies and laws pertaining to credit card use were so vague, it would be almost impossible to prosecute.
We're going to do things with purpose.
The mayor's first term started off normal, and then the pandemic hit. She was reelected with little real opposition in 2021, and in her second term, Cantrell has been dogged by her travel to other countries and turnover in key departments like public works and what seems to be like a never-ending battle with the city council.
So essentially what you're talking about is a woman that was never able to even manage her own finances, always had questionable issues and problems, and now we're in a space to where she's getting indicted because she had a questionable relationship in which she used taxpayer dollars to make sure that she tried to cover up. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.